to you, but we do have some other areas that we can also start to address, and so we appreciate you thinking of what those might be and capturing that. Does anyone have papers they need me to collect, or would you like to email me later something clean? Danielle, where are you at? You emailed me. Thank you. Yes, and we will. Our meeting is starting at 5. Our agenda is starting, but we are bringing all of this back to our next set of meetings. So definitely to be continued. We just started the work today.
Even if we don't give you a paper right now, we'll still have.
Yes, of course. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you have approximately 1.5 minutes to do what you want to do. And then we'll open the doors for questions. And for the contributions that you've already given to the campus and what you will do for our students in years to come. So thank you for that. Right now I'm going to read. If you give me just a moment. Out and let them in the printer for fun. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to start with our land acknowledgement. Before we begin tonight, we believe it's important to open our meeting by acknowledging the indigenous land that we share. Pasadena City College is a learning community within the homeland of the people who have been known as the Gabrielino Band of Mission Indians of the Shishi-Ikwanga Village and Quiche Nation. We acknowledge the painful history of genocide and forced removal from this land on which we gather. We honor all indigenous people, past, present, and future, and their continued survival and contributions to our society. We also honor the legacy of the African diaspora and recognize that this country would not exist without the free enslaved labor of Black people. We share this acknowledgement to raise awareness of histories that are too often erased or forgotten, to recognize our place in this history, and to affirm our commitment to social justice, systemic change, and anti-racism. Okay. Do we have any public comment? We have one public comment, and that is Ms. Cynthia Alexander.
Good afternoon. My name is Tamika Alexander, and I serve as the Associate Dean of Transfer and Honors. And I'm here on behalf of the faculty and staff from the Transfer Center. Well, it's officially transfer season, and although we're top in transfer, we definitely have work to do as it relates to closing the equity gaps. So we're here today to let you know about two exciting activities or items. Item number one is University Day, which takes place on Wednesday, September 21st from 10 to 1 out in front of the campus near the mirror pools. We're going to have over 70 colleges and universities here to meet with our students in person, and we're hopeful that faculty will allow students maybe a few minutes out at the fair, perhaps give them some extra credits, or maybe give them an additional assignment. But this is a great way to connect our students with the university representatives. Item number two is something that's new and is being led by one of our faculty members, Yvette Valdez from the Transfer Center, and it's called Become a Transfer Agent. And this is happening on October 7th from 9 to 12. So as a faculty member, have you ever wondered how you can assist a student in the transfer process? Well, this is a great way for you to earn 3 units, and you can become a transfer agent. Those who walk away from the symposium will walk away with tools and knowledge to be able to help their students. So we hope that you take the time to share the information with your students. Thank you for listening, and hopefully you will sign up to become a transfer agent. We'll be sure to send the flyers and information to Judy Benson so that she can pass it on. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
Are there any more public comments?
Do anyone contact you? No. Okay, thank you. Okay. So we are going to go on to the approval of the minutes. Apparently, they were not a part of the board packet, but we do have them. We'll let you read them over, and then we can approve them. These minutes are from April 25th of this year, our last academic senate meeting. So if you just bear with us for a moment. Yes, Melissa.
So they're not on board docs, so where are we supposed to read them over?
We will actually put them on board docs. I don't know how they came out of our board, where they're not in our board packet. They are on board docs? I'm sorry. I apologize. I was given misinformation. They are on board docs on item number D. Thank you, Senators. Okay, since they are on board docs, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, do I have a second? The second is Talene, let me say for the record, the motion was proposed by Dr. Sheila Rose, seconded by Talene Serapian. Okay, are there any objections to approving these minutes? Seeing none, we're going to approve the minutes unanimously. Minutes are approved. Unless there are any objections, comments, concerns, great. The minutes are approved. Okay. I don't think I need to use, I hope you don't mind, I want to use this. Okay, good. Okay, so next up are constituency reports. Is there a representative from the FA, PCC FA? Are you here representing the FA?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Bevel Constantine.
Thank you so much for the floor. Since our president, Mr. Mark Whitworth, can be here, as a part-time FA vice president, I'd like to make a brief report. We in the Faculty Association have been working diligently throughout the summer, working on a new contract with the district. The FA is currently waiting to hear back from the district on a few issues. Healthcare for part-time faculty, we did propose a pretty strong healthcare plan. We're really hoping that the district considers this plan for adjunct faculty. As most of you know, adjunct faculty have never had health insurance benefits or options here at Pasadena City College. And so we're thinking this is historic, and we're really hoping that we get to a quality plan. We also waited to hear back from Article 12, which is the salary schedules. The FA and the district have tentative agreements for Article 7, evaluations, Article 10, faculty division chairs, and Article 14, reassigned time. Finally, the FA is working on counter proposals for Article 5, working conditions, Article 4, health benefits, Article 18, which will be Article 15 pretty soon, part-time faculty reemployment rights, Article 16, distance education, and as well as the athletic coaching stipends. So we look forward to continuing negotiation with the district. We're pretty confident that in the end we will have a pretty strong contract that all faculty members will appreciate So we'd like to thank everyone who's been involved for the work that they've put in thus far. Thank you.
Thank you, PCCFA. Is there a report from the adjunct faculty?
Yes, thank you. Hi, everybody. It's nice to be here. My name is Tracy Bowditch. I am the co-chair of the Adjunct Faculty Issues Committee, and we had a meeting last Friday. And during that meeting, we reminded that Catherine Chang was voted as an adjunct faculty senator for academic senate from our April, sorry if it was the 18th or 22nd. I left my notes on my desk today. I apologize for this meeting.
It's the 25th.
Sorry?
The 25th.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So we reviewed that. We also voted in a new 2-year term for Gita Endor as an academic, sorry, God, I should have had some coffee at 3, as an adjunct faculty representative for the AS. We did the same thing for Bethel Constantine, and then a new term, 2-year term, was voted in for Shannon Merriby for an adjunct faculty rep from the AS. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the classified senate has Audrey Joseph, since her regrets, unfortunately she wasn't able to join us tonight. Is there a representative from the Associated Students? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to Management Association. Is there a representative from the Management Association? Okay, our meeting is short. Thank you. Okay, now we have our officers' reports, and starting with me, Academic Senate President, I'm going to yield a moment of my time to Dr. Andrew Jonas, who would like to welcome the Academic Senate President. Dr. Andrew Jonas.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you very much for allowing me. Do you want me to come up there?
It's
Sure.
up to you.
Absolutely. I just want to welcome everybody to our new academic year. I know you all had your first retreat, and I was thankful to be invited to come and welcome everyone. We did do a forum last Thursday to talk about the approval of the budget. If you weren't able to be there, it is available online. You can go and watch it afterwards. And we'll be doing those forums once a month. And if there are any particular topics that you would like us to address, please let us know, because the goal of those monthly forums really is to provide information. I know we're going to be looking at one on emergency preparedness, because that's something we're updating. It's actually something we were working on in February of 2020, and we know what happened after that. I also want to give a plug for my upcoming faculty office hours. They're Thursday, September 29th from 12 to 1. I have a jar of candy, and I hope you all will come by and share your thoughts, comments, concerns, and I just want to welcome you to a really great new academic year, and I thought that the goals I saw on the screen when I came in show you all have a lot of great things to work on this year, and I am excited for that, and I look forward to hearing updates from the Senate exec during our CAPM meetings, and then, of course, I'm always willing to come back and chat with folks for any Senate meetings. So again, welcome, and thank you for all of your hard work. I really appreciate everything that you all do, and have a great year.
Okay, to continue with my report, we had a lot of summer appointments, and I wanted to let the senators know what those were. These were approved by the executive committee during the summer when the Senate was not in session. So for performing arts, their dean hiring committee, we appointed Zach Matthews and Kristen Kaz for the hiring committee, For the Dean of Enrollment hiring committee, we appointed Dr. Gina Lopez and Dr. Sheila Rose. For the Health Sciences Reassignment Position Committee, we assigned Blanca Rodriguez, Sabrina Law, Rita Nazarian. For the Network Technician Advisory Committee, we appointed Jeff Winter. For the Security Analyst Advisory Committee, we appointed Joshua Hidalgo. For the Director of EOP&S and CARES Advisory Committee, we appointed Avisha Chugani and Stephanie Hall. For the Maintenance Supervisor, we appointed Mylan Ayers and Margaret Bowles. For the Title III Grant Activity Director, we appointed, maybe this would help. Okay, this would help, thank you. We appointed Christine Lorich and Edward Ham. For the DE Coordinator Reassignments Committee, we appointed Albert Shin and Dan Staler. For the Core Coordinator, we appointed Anthony Francoso and Rohan Desai. For the Flexibility Calendar Committee, we appointed Roger Yang and Ken Simon. For the IEDJ Faculty Coordinator hiring, we appointed Dr. Gina Lopez and Armia Walker. For the Statewide Academic Senate RSFAC, and for those of you who don't know, because I didn't know either, it's the Rising Scholars Faculty Advisory Committee, and we appointed Ariana Rezendi. For the Statewide Academic Senate OER Psychology Liaison, we appointed Bucky Bahad, sorry, my bad. Okay. And for the Statewide Academic Senate Accreditation Committee, we appointed Ricardo Castillo. For the Statewide Non-Credit Pre-Transfer and Continuing Education Committee, we appointed Liliana Martinez Kaufman. And we appointed Armia Walker as our Vice President of the Academic Senate. We lost Veronica Jaramillo to management. And we also appointed Lena Hicks as the Academic Senate Secretary. So that was our summer edition of the President's Report. That's my report, and I'm sticking to it. So, next report is the Vice President of the Academic Senate, Armia Walker. Sure.
What was the process for the hiring committees and the appointing? Who exactly did that, and how did those people who, because we just have had a discussion earlier during our retreat about hiring committees, that's such an important point here at this college. So who made those appointments exactly, and what was the process?
Okay. Per our bylaws, when the Academic Senate is not in session, the Executive Committee will make those appointments. How we made those appointments, we got recommendations from the different departments, divisions, and we made a determination based on the information that we have before us. To be honest, a lot of faculty were not on campus, so it was it was easier because we only had a few people that were able to serve in those positions. So that was our process.
Approximately how many appointees were there? You don't have to count out, I mean.
It's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot. With that, I'm going to give Armia Walker the floor.
Thank you all. For my VP report, I just wanted to mention that we're going to do a lot of work with committees coming up. An email was sent out to the chairs regarding if they will continue to be chairs, and also if there was any changes in membership. Thank you for those of you who did send me that information. Also, in continuance with what we were doing last term, we will be having different committees to report out in our main meetings as we did before, and we'll give you a lot of notice for that. We are also looking to fill seats on various standing committees, so some of you will be called upon for that. We are also working with the the VPI, Vice President of Instruction, to make sure Senate representation is accurate because some divisions have merged. And so these are all the things that we've been working on recently. So just look out for that. Lastly, we are revamping our Canvas shell for committees to help committee members and chairs know how to operate within those committees. And that's it. Thank you.
Is there a secretary's report? Yes. That's fine.
So public comment will now be received through the Academic Senate email address, which is now posted on the Academic Senate website. Please type public comment in the subject line. I also have a brief message from PCC Library. The PCC Library offers TI-84 graphing calculators, laptops, Chromebooks, and Wi-Fi hotspots for semester-long checkout to currently enrolled PCC students. This service is free to use. Due to high demand, the PCC Library is currently out of laptops to lend, though all other equipment is still currently available for checkout. More laptops are already in order to help meet the needs of students, and to be informed first when we get laptops back in stock, people who sign up will be notified when they become available. And I'll be sure to share the back to stock notification form to all senators to share with their departments so students can be aware of how to sign up. And lastly, during week 1 of fall 2022, we had approximately 12,080 students, employees, and community patrons visit the library. The reference desk received 457 inquiries, and the circulation desk received 455 inquiries. Thank you, PCC Library, for sharing this information.
Thank you. Is there a treasurer's report?
There is. I would just like to read the balances into the record. In future, I'll have them displayed, but with running from class to run the retreat, I didn't have a chance to get them up, so apologies for that. At our last meeting on April 25th, our combined balance for business checking and savings was $23,620.44. As of today, our combined balance is $20,236.93 for a decrease in $3,383.51. Some of that money was spent on the retreat. We wanted to provide food for you. And then also, Judy had to make 2 fairly sizable technology purchases in order to continue to do her job as our administrative assistant. So that represents the balance of it. Another part might be the dwindling number of people who contribute to the Academic Senate Fund. So this is something that you can have as an automatic deduction, and we will be making efforts this year to make sure that as many faculty are contributing to the Senate, but particularly also to the Senate Scholarship. So more plans and goals related to that coming in our next meeting. Thank you.
There's a question.
Oh, question, yes.
What did she purchase?
I would need to check with her. She told me, but it has escaped my brain. I've been teaching since 9 o'clock this morning, sorry.
So $3,000 was spent on this retreat plus 2 items that...
Yeah, they were kind of large technology purchases, but I can get that information to you.
Will you be emailing that to all of us then?
If you would like, yes, I can.
Because we're taking notes.
Thanks.
End your report.
Yep, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, next we have information items. We're going to start with Dr. Cynthia Olivo with a student services update. Dr. Olivo?
Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? So I just wanted to make sure you all saw the Student Services Resource Guide that I sent out through Lena. Thank you so much for sending that. And I would encourage you to please share this with all of the students in your classes so that they know who to contact in my area to get support. We do have a large team of 19 leaders in student services, and we're all eager to help you help our students succeed. I also sent out a newsletter on the new services that we have, and I want to mention a couple of those. One of them is our Family Resource Center, and it's located right upstairs. We do have a soft launch available, so please encourage students who are parents to come on over. I'd say in the past 2 weeks, we've had around 10 students or less with their kids come over to the FRC. And so please check that out. And then we also have a continuation of something that Dr. Stevens helped get started over the pandemic, the Lancer Care Basic Needs Center. In the past couple of weeks, we've helped 2 of our students who are moms with their kids that were living in their cars. So we've been able to do placement through the foundation. So if you have any students who reveal that to you in your courses, please make sure you let us know. I was in my office on Friday night and a faculty member sent over an email. I said, since I'm here, let me just activate a Lancer Care referral, and we're helping that student. So finally, I just wanted to let you know that we also have a Canvas page in its final stages, and we're trying to publish that to all students' Canvas shells. So be on the lookout for that. If we can't get it published for every student, then we're just going to push that out through all of you, the faculty, so that you can share that with students. Okay? Thank you so much. Oh, yes.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Gina.
Can you
Hi, Tracy.
define placement? The reason I ask is many semesters ago, I had a homeless student. I don't think she actually was a mom. I don't remember the age of her children. But in terms of me understanding what we, the college, can do for these individuals, what did you mean by placement?
Well, we have a few options. I have I have a housing resource committee, and this is filled with representatives from agencies that help this, group of people in the community. And so we have an agency named Casa de Alegría, and they provide housing for moms with kids. So this is one of the placements that we made a couple weeks ago. And then we also are trying something new with the Ramada Inn down the street. So we have a student there as well.
Very helpful information. Thank you.
But just remember, the first point of contact is Lancer Care Center.
Thank you.
With the soft launch of the FRC Family Resource Center,
Yep.
That's happening now?
Yes, it is. The soft launch is happening now. And what we did to let students know is we got a list of students who are parents from the research office, and we've sent out a Canvas page to all of those students. And this is how they know to come in.
And where is that located?
It's located in the campus center on the 2nd floor, and it's in the old Ujima office. CC 231. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Olivo. Okay, next we have an instructional update by Dr. Laura Ramirez.
Hi, everyone. It's good to see you. So I just have a few updates regarding some of the messages I put out. Hopefully today you've had an opportunity to see them, and last week as well. One of them is our faculty hiring prioritization process is up and running, so the application went out. We don't have an exact number of how many faculty we're going to hire, but know that our FON as of today for fall 23 is 466.
I'm sorry, could you explain FON?
Oh, faculty obligation number? So every year the Chancellor's Office reports to all the colleges how many full-time faculty are required to have to be in compliance with state law. That number is generated based on our funded apportionment, our funded FTS. So right now, we're at 466 full-time faculty. That's what the projected FON obligation number is for fall of 23. For fall of 22, it was 435. So the Chancellor's Office gives us 2 opportunities, what they call the advanced FON, which we have now, and the P2, which is based on more closely our real FTS numbers, because right now we're projecting for the year. So as of today, it's 466. We can kind of monitor our FTS, but know that that's kind of the target we're heading towards. So please make sure that you do put in a faculty hiring process request so that we can prioritize and we have enough positions to select from through the process. Any questions on that? Okay, and then the other announcement that went out had to do with Illumin and Web CMS. So our last day for use or entry into Illumin for learning outcomes is October 1. We will be replacing Illumin with Anthology. This is a transition period, so in making sure that our transition is smooth, we wanted to, number one, use this time to develop processes for closing the loop on SLOs, so we're not requiring data entry into Illumin or Anthology for that matter for the fall term. Having said that, there's a lot of programs out there that are still doing assessment that's required for their cycle. So there's still a mechanism, or you may still collect data, there's nowhere to deposit it at this time. The data that's already in Illumin will be saved for future use so that we continue to do analysis and you can use it for your planning process. But know that up until October 1st, after that, Illumin will no longer be available. And there's more information to come from the Learning Outcomes Group leadership team. And then the last one I wanted to talk a little bit about. Any questions? Yes.
So I just wanted to clarify so I could report back to my division. We are not doing SLO assessment in Anthology this fall,
Correct.
so it is not happening anywhere. Is that correct?
You can continue with assessment. There's nowhere to enter data for the fall.
Okay. So we just figure it out among ourselves.
There'll be more information coming. The deans are going to actually get more information as well, so they'll be sharing that with you. Right now, what we would like is for people to look at the data that's in Illumin. All that will be downloaded. It'll all be provided to you in the future, and we're working on the next steps on the transition process.
Okay. I just wanted to tell my faculty what to do. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, a general question that could wait till the end of the report.
Okay. So the next thing I wanted to just give you a little update on enrollment for fall. Our head count is up about 500 students as of this morning. That means the actual number of bodies that are registered at PCC. Our enrollments, however, are up over 3,000. So that's really exciting. This is from last fall, so we're still down, but we're starting to see the uptick in students coming back to PCC. So that's really exciting. Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of new senators. Can you talk to them about the difference between enrollment and...
Absolutely. So when I'm talking about head count, it's the number of students that are registered. However, some students enroll in 3 units, some students enroll in 6 units, some students enroll in more, right? So when we're talking about enrollments, it's the number of classes students are enrolling in. So we have 500 more students, but enrollments, the number of classes that they're registering into is up about 3,200. So again, that's really good news. Moreover, which I'm really excited about, is that our in-person enrollment is up about 6,000 versus online. They're both very robust, but we have about 6,000 more in-person enrollments. And our hybrid classes are at 7,000. So I think we're moving in the right direction as far as student enrollment and getting students back. Any questions?
So how many students are enrolled altogether for each one of those groups that you're discussing?
How many students? I don't have the actual number of students per modality. Total head count, we're at about 23,600. That's total head count. Yes?
Yeah, so 2 questions. Out of the 23,600, how many of those students are African American?
I don't have that breakdown with me.
Okay,
Yeah.
and we're out of time. If we want to, thank you. We want to, summer break. If we want to extend the time by 5 minutes, I need a motion.
So moved.
Okay, and do I have a second? Tracy, okay, moved by Bevel Constantine for the record, seconded by Tracy Bodis, and Brodus?
Bodish. It's like it has an H on the end. It's on
Bodish.
there.
Thank you so much. Are there any objections to the extension? Seeing none, we can approve this by unanimous consent. Approved by, you have 5 more minutes.
Yes, Dr. Ramirez. So can we have that information by the next meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. And out of the full-time faculty, how many were hired in the last year?
Last year, we hired 22 full-time faculty.
22. And can we get that information broken down by ethnicity?
Sure.
For those 22?
I believe we have that already in HR, but I can provide that.
Thank you so much.
May I? Oh, sorry. May I?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, really quick. This is from me speaking as a faculty member. Back in the day when we were trying to help enrollment in our classes, in the first 2 weeks, students are running around with app goes, can I add your class? Yes, yes, yes. And I think that's good for the college. I'm seeing a trend now that if a class doesn't have capacity or 60% of the cap, deans are canceling that rather than letting us, meet that first week and either advertise or, go to other people's class and announce it. So I don't know where that's coming from or what the differences from when I say back in the day.
So let me share during my tenure here what I understood happened in the past, which is our practice or our policy that we've used for canceling classes was a 60% mark.
Right.
So if classes were not at 60% prior to the first day, they were typically cut. If you look carefully at the schedule of classes, you're going to find that there's a lot of low, not 60% enrolled classes. We actually were very intentional about that. We looked at a number of things, and it's not a hard and fast rule either. So we looked at, do we have other options for students? So are there multiple sections of the same class? Do we have an online offering? Do we have a hybrid offering? Do we have an evening class? Do we have a day class? So we look at a number of things. Is it part of a program of study? Is it already a class where the students are kind of cohorted and we know these students need the class to finish up? So I've been very flexible about making sure our classes with low enrollment are open. Unless we have 5 sections and they all have 2 or 4 students, right? Then that's kind of overscheduled based on demand at this time. So we've been very flexible, and I hope that you've seen that in your programs at allowing those low enrolled classes. And the reason is that because of the pandemic, the state has issued what's called a hold harmless financial situation for community colleges, right? And that's supposed to be effective for another year. And what that means is that they're continuing to fund colleges based on enrollment from past years prior to the pandemic. I believe for us it's 17-18. So we are still getting funded, and what we want to do is have as many classes open for students, both online and in person, to have that open access. Why is that important? Some people say, well, why are you allowing classes with such low numbers, right? Well, the reality is that once we roll out of this hold harmless situation, the new student-centered funding formula is based on not just FTS, completions, finishing math and English the first year. So all those numbers of students that continue here are really, I'm hoping, going to make a difference in the long run. So if there is a class that you think needs, a second chance, for example, a late start, or even for the spring, make sure you let the dean know so they can work with you in identifying how to help those students.
So you're saying that there's a chance, so say if you're one student shy of your 60%, you can appeal to your dean?
Absolutely.
Can you?
I think you need to reach out and have that conversation so that you also understand how they're making decisions, right? It should not be and is not arbitrary. They're making decisions based, looking at the entire schedule. So definitely reach out to your deans, let them know what you see as a trend or as a demand as they're planning for the future.
Thank you for that information.
We have time for one more question?
Yes, quick.
Go ahead, I already asked, go
Are
ahead.
you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I know you mentioned that in-person enrollment is up, which is great, but is that also because we just are offering more in-person classes?
Some of them, yes, maybe because we have more offerings. But the number of sections for online, we're at 917 sections. Our efficiency is at 82%, so they're not full. Our in-person sections, we're at 1,700, and they're at about 71% full. So even our online is not at capacity.
Sorry, this is the first meeting. In terms of scheduling, is it possible to have a universal scheduling system that's, I guess, transparent for everyone across the campus?
I don't know what that means as far as, what information are you looking for?
It's just like different deans have different methods of scheduling. Some of it is very open, some of it is sort of, you're not quite sure how you're given a course.
So we are working on updating our scheduling processes. I think that's, again, a conversation to have with the dean about how that happens. But I think, yeah, the schedule should be available for faculty to see what we're offering.
We're out of time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Emeritus. Okay, next we have the Student Equity Plan from Quay Dang from the IEDJ Division. And Dan. Hi, Dan. Hi.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. Is there a way I can click onto our links?
Oh, that's me. Thank you. Yes.
As Sheila's doing that, I just want to quickly introduce ourselves. I did. My name is Chloe Dang. I'm the Executive Director of Student Equity and Success, and I've been here about 10 months, and so I'm really excited to meet you all, and especially face-to-face, and so I hope that we will be interacting more often this year as a new member of PCC. And Dan, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Excuse me. Hi everyone, my name is Dan Huynh. I am a research and planning analyst in the Office of Institutional Effectiveness. I've been here 3.5 years, but still feel new just because of the pandemic. But it's nice to see you all.
So we are in the midst of developing a new student equity plan every 3 years, and so we will be rolling out our student equity plan 2022 to 25 this year. We'll be coming back to Senate in the next meeting for a first read. We wanted to meet with you today because our student equity plan is very data heavy and intense, and so we thought this would be a great precursor to let you all know about our data, to let you chew on it a little bit and understand it before we provide you a first read at the end of the month. So Dan and I are going to be going over our most recent student equity data and which students are experiencing the most gaps. So just for those who are unfamiliar with our student equity plan, we work through the transfers office. We develop our student equity plan through 5 student success indicators, as you see here on the chart, where we measure all of our student groups with these 5 indicators. One is the successful enrollment, how many students actually apply and enroll in our college, how many students finish transfer level math and English within their first year, how many persist from one term to another, meaning how many students return from entering in fall and coming back in spring, or entering in spring and coming back in the fall, how many students complete their certificate or their degree within a 3-year period, and how many students who indicate transfer actually transfer within a 3-year period. So these are our student indicators for equity. And I'm going to hand it over to Dan to just talk about how the transfer has collected our data.
So like Quay mentioned, we have 5 metrics, and in the past when we were given data from the Chancellor's office, it was really a slice in time, regardless of where students were in their student journey. In the most recent data release that they provided us, we're actually now looking at cohort data. So we're looking at first-time college students. And this is significant because then that actually informs us how long it takes a student to go through the 5 metrics. So enrollment, persistence, and completed transfer math and English are things that the Chancellor Office expects students to be able to complete within 2 years. And then within that 3rd year, have they completed a degree or an award or transferred from PCC into a 4-year institution. And the most recent year of available data that we have, they're now calling that your baseline year. So the baseline year would be established now, and then progress that we make in closing equity gaps would be tracked over the next 3 years of the planning cycle. So it's a lot of information all at once, but hopefully I haven't lost folks yet. This is just very briefly, who are the students who are experiencing the most gaps? And when we looked at the data overall, what we're seeing for PCC is that our Black African American student population, as well as our Hispanic or Latino, Latinx students, are experiencing the most gaps across the 5 metrics. So they each are experiencing gaps in 4 of the 5. When we further break it out by the intersection of gender, we're seeing that our Black African American males in particular are experiencing equity gaps in transfer. So when we're looking at the plan overall, we're paying especially close attention to these 2 groups and really prioritizing their needs overall. You also see up here all other gender values. That's kind of a catch-all for students who are reporting non-binary. It's a new category, so we don't have a lot of data for students in that category yet, but we do expect that over time, we'll be able to see that group grow. But in order to protect student privacy, the Chancellor's Office created this catch-all category. Okay. So I'm just going to go over one of the metrics. This follows very similar format all throughout the 5. I just wanted to give folks kind of an idea of what you're looking for as you're reading through the plan so that you don't get too caught up or confused by the numbers. So I created this infographic just to kind of help ground us. So for this first metric of enrollment, we're looking specifically at Black African American applicants. As you remember from the, I'm sorry, is that time?
Move to extend by 5 minutes.
Okay, Sheila Rose, for the record, Sheila Rose moved to extend by 5 minutes, and I got a second by Lyman Chafee. Are there any objections? Seeing no objections, we can approve this by unanimous consent. This is approved. You have another 5 minutes.
Thank you. So for this particular metric, we're looking at Black African American applicants. You'll remember from the last table that I showed, our students are experiencing equity gaps in enrollment. So what I'm showing here is that we had 439 first-time applicants for the baseline year 2021, and of those, only 136 actually enrolled at PCC. This is another table that shows that data, but just in less appealing form. But baseline year is academic year 2021. Again, 439 Black African American applicants is the denominator. Numerator, those who actually enrolled at PCC, 136. So if you divide the two, it's a 31% outcome rate. And when comparing this particular group to everybody else, minus themselves, that's an equity gap of negative 4.5%. Can I pause for questions?
No, we should get through the presentation first.
So
We're going to take questions at the end of them. Thank you.
So what does this all mean? Baseline year, we know what our gap is. And over the next 3 years of the student equity plan, we're going to try and close this equity gap for this particular student group for the enrollment metric. So what I'm showing up here is a draft of what is being written into the student equity plan about how we plan to reduce these gaps. I believe over time it's like a 3 percentage point decrease in the gap. So we start off with negative 4.5, and by 2025 we've actually closed that gap, but also increased the number of Black students who are enrolling at PCC. So recognizing that 31% as an outcome rate is not a great rate, we're hoping to increase that by 41% by 2025. Okay, I think that's everything that I wanted to cover. As you're looking through the slide deck, you'll see that this format repeats itself. Hopefully I've given you enough guideposts that when you look over it, it's not too confusing, but please let me know, and I'll pass it back over to Clay.
So just in closing, again, in this link that you'll see, you'll be able to do that through persistence and all 5 of the metrics, and so you'll be able to see that. One of the reasons why Dan and I wanted to present this data is that it can get a little bit confusing, but as we share with you at the end of the month, the first read, all of these targets will have specific strategies that are related to how we're going to close the gaps. And we want to get feedback from you all as academic senate to see if there's any things that are confused or any suggestions on how to make the data a little bit more user-friendly, because one of our goals for this student equity plan is that you all will be able to read it and have it be like a tool and a user-friendly guide to really see like how you can fit into it and what kind of strategies you can engage in to be supportive of closing our equity gaps. Yes, we're ready.
Questions?
Yes. Every year, this data is presented to us, and nothing changes. It's very frustrating. I know we have strategies meant to decrease the gaps, but these strategies that we've tried thus far have not been working. Is it possible to form a committee or just a group of individuals who can work on reducing these gaps in a more realistic approach? And do you believe that the lack of diversity that we see on campus in classrooms adds to the gap? When students come into a classroom and they don't see individuals that look like them, the motivation is very low for some of them. These are just my suggestions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think to answer on your first questions and just to respond to that last comment is, yes, there's actually been national studies that show faculty diversity influences student success, and so for students to see themselves reflected in their classrooms is very important. I think in relation to the historic gaps that we continuously face, our Student Success Committee is our operational body that oversees our student equity plan. So it is an open meeting that everyone's invited to. And we have subcommittees within our Student Success Committee. Do you have possibility?
If you could,
Wrap it up?
yes, wrap it up.
Okay. He doesn't have another question, but okay.
If we're out of time, it's good. Yeah.
Then we need to extend it.
Okay, move to extend by 5 minutes.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, I saw Anna's hand first, sorry, Raya. If there are no objections to extending this by 5 minutes, was it 5 minutes? Are there any objections? Seeing none, we can pass this by unanimous consent.
And I also wanted to share that because we have to renew our student equity plan, that this is a great opportunity to address some of the reasons on why we haven't been able to be successful in closing the gaps. And so I really want to invite this body to really help us figure that out, and that this is a good way to reallocate resources, not just talk about the work, but actually put some resources behind that. So everyone here can contribute to that process too. But we encourage you to reach out to us through our Student Success Committee, and we'll note that as a recommendation that faculty senators have said maybe creating a subcommittee for it.
Are there any more questions? Yes.
I know it's semantics, but for the markers, the 5 measures, are those PCC terms, or are they coming from the Chancellor's
They're
office?
coming from the Chancellor's office.
Okay, I have a question. Is there any way to possibly change the concept of transfer to a 4-year to a university? I hope that language matters, and PCC is not a 2-year institution, it's a community college, and universities are universities, not 4-year. I think our words matter and they impact our students. And so I know but I hope that we can say university even in something like this. So I hope that's a recommendation that
Thank you.
we take.
Thank you, Tony. We can make that change for sure.
And I hope we start using that language as well. It's simple and small, but it's a thing.
Anna?
Yeah, I had a question. Is this like a budget-facing study? Like, you said the word resources, and so like if, one thing that we desperately need to address some of these are more counselors, right? So can we use the data that you are developing in your office to make a case in the budget to say, let's hire like 25 more counselors, or like whatever it is? You know what I'm saying? So is it something that is budget impact, this study?
Yes, it does. It is attached to a budget.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I just had a quick question about the meetings. You said they're open. Do we just reach out to you to figure out when those meetings are?
Yeah, Sheila, Dan, and I are actually tri-chairs, and so we definitely reach out to us.
Okay.
We meet every 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Just to bring everything full circle with what you presented to us today, can you provide one example of what has worked in terms of contributing, where you can see data, where you've got higher numbers of African-American students, for example? Like you say, well, we do know this, if you could share it.
Sheila's.
I wrote the equity plan reflection, so I have that very fresh because I procrastinated and did it very recently. So AB 705 is an example of something that we were one of 2 colleges in the state of California who fully implemented the elimination of remedial math and English by the 2019 deadline. As a result of that, the total number of African American and Latinx students who are completing transfer level math and English within the first year has drastically increased, like tripled. And so that is something that we as a college committed to doing that the other 114 colleges did not fully do by the implement, and that put our students, gave them access to transfer level math and English.
Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, we will have our first read at the next meeting, so thank you so much. Okay, now we'll move on to old business, and I want to let the senators know that we more than likely will not be voting on this today. It is to refresh you from April 25th. Carol, when you're ready. Yes, Melissa.
I have a question. When you say we're going to have first read of
The equity plan.
the equity plan, okay, so then we'll have that document, the actual verbiage in the agenda?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
Okay, so we brought on the captain committee and we brought to you.
Sorry, Carol, we had a talk at our retreat about acronyms. Can you please say what that committee is?
Committee of Professional Ethics and Academic Freedom. And we were looking at the board policy, I believe it was 3050. And the committee decided to make it more user-friendly with the language, so we made some changes to it. There was a comment from Lindsay after the first read that you had, and that was to change the pronouns. There was only one space where we had a he or she, and that got changed today. So that's taken care of. And otherwise, it's pretty much the same documents that you had saw in the group.
Thank you. So, are there any questions about that? Yes.
I actually was taking a look at it last night, and I do have a question about a couple points. Could we do that now, or should we do that to the official first read, or?
We actually had the first read, we're on the second read, so absolutely, yeah. This was just a refresher so the senators, before they voted, remembered what they were voting on.
Got it. Okay. So the first one is, I don't know if you can put it up, but it's on page 4.
Am I best going to board docs for this?
Yeah. To the left, you gotta go.
Oh, sorry. Policies, thank you. What's the number?
I think it's
Page
3050.
3050.
Wasn't it in the board docs? Isn't
Yeah,
it?
It's in the meeting minutes.
Yeah, this policy that you're looking at here, though, Sheila, is probably the original policy.
Okay.
Not the.
Okay, so it's in, sorry?
Do you want me to?
Yes. She knows I'm a terrible,
I can send you the link if you have your email up.
yeah, I'm a terrible public technology driver, so not my strength. Thank you, Talia.
Melissa?
I'm just curious, how many here are new, like how many new senators are there in the room today?
I don't know. We can talk about that after we get through this item.
Hey, if you're new, raise your hand.
I was gonna say, you can just raise your hand.
Or, thank you. Wait, can you keep your hand up?
What?
No.
8 new senators.
40% of the room?
I still feel new.
So 40% of the room, about?
That's quick math. I don't do math like that.
Okay.
I'm just kidding, Tom. I'm just kidding.
I found it. Link PCC Internet for $4.
Do you see how that unmute the visuals?
Okay.
Thank you. So it's on page 4. So I have 2 questions. Oh, there you go. Thank you. So in item B, just for clarity and consistency, I'm assuming where it says the vice president, it should say the academic senate vice president, just to be consistent with the other paragraphs where it refers.
B?
Yeah, item B, see how it says the vice president shall,
Well, it's
schedule-
following the vice president of instruction, so it's vice president of instruction.
okay, so then it should say vice president of instruction. I wasn't clear on
I'm
that.
sorry. I'm going to ask the audience if they could please keep it down. The senators are speaking. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, because I wasn't clear on that. I was assuming they were speaking of the vice president of the academic senate. So if you could maybe clarify, because I was confused, and then the other paragraphs, it refers to the president of the academic senate. So I was, just for clarification, then list which vice president.
The vice president of the academic senate has nothing to do with the process.
Okay, got it. So maybe adding vice president of instruction, because we also have like 6 vice presidents, so I don't know which one, right? So that was the first one, and then the other one that I had a question was on page 2, under item 2, letter B. Yes, right there. So in the beginning it says, faculty members encourage the free pursuit of learning.
Okay, we need to extend this by,
I so moved by 5 minutes.
thank you, Lyman Chafee. Second by who? I heard, but I saw. Double Constantine. Are there any objections to extending this by 5 minutes? Okay, seeing none, we can approve this by unanimous consent. You have 5 more minutes. I'm sorry, can you continue?
Yes, and so faculty have the obligation too, and of course it has all the items there. So I have some reservations with item B. Serve as academic intellectual guides and or counselors. Of course, faculty, we are not trained to act as academic advisors or counselors. So I would like some clarification on that because, and I bring this up because every semester towards the end of my course, I have students that come to me and say, what class should I take? I don't know what to do. Should I take this class? Should I take that class? And then we can get into this rabbit hole of, well, where are you at? You know, do you have these units? This class sounds good, but have you completed the prerequisite? Or does it have a co-requisite? And so there's just a lot that comes along with that. So I'm not sure. I'm assuming this refers to the in-classroom academic guidance that we offer the students, but again, for clarity, I would suggest maybe changing the language a little bit to make it more clear, right? Because I know our counselors would not appreciate us ill-advising students, you know, where to go. So, and since we have counselors here, I would really appreciate your feedback on this. So that was my suggestion.
Okay, I see Lyman's hand first, and then I'll come back. Well, this is related.
This is related to that.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it says that the faculty are supposed to serve as academic and intellectual guides and counselors, the counselors are faculty. So, right, tell me? It's the faculty, so
Got it.
their job is to serve as a counselor, and if you're in an academic discipline, you can read that as the academic.
So could we then specify that this is related to counseling faculty rather than in classroom, right? Because I sure wouldn't want to take over somebody else's job in that respect. But just for clarification.
Okay. And so she said that's fine. Jose, did you have?
I was gonna comment on, I mean, it says and or. So I mean, as a faculty member myself, you know, I don't mind giving what, in my opinion, what class they should take after taking my class. Because as faculty, we know what the actual ladder is, especially in math. The fact that it says and or, I mean, I would go with or. Like I can be a guide, And if I don't want to be a counselor, if I don't want to do the counselor, I can do the actual guy. Like, the and/or gives me a choice, is what I'm trying to say.
Melissa, before I get to you, I'm going to let Jeff respond to, I'm sorry.
Oh, Catherine Chang.
Catherine, thank you.
Thank you for bringing this up. We were going to bring it up as well. I think that the spirit of this statement may mean a different word, first of all. But I do think that, you know, we all want to be careful to offer the correct information to our students. And I do also think that faculty know a lot about how they can guide students and respect that. So I would respectfully ask for just a different wording of this, just so that way it's more clear and it doesn't cause confusion over like divisions and disciplines and roles. I think that it's just going to be better if we find a better way to state this.
Is it possible for you to maybe look at the wording and then send it to Carol?
That would be wonderful.
And that way, before we vote on it, we can all read on it.
Sure.
Thank
And
you,
anybody
Jeff.
else who wants to chime in on that as well, I'm happy to.
Okay, and Melissa, you had your hand up.
Oh, yes, just really quick, I see value in clarifying that because this is, you know, we could be, I guess, we're held accountable to this document as faculty. And it seems like some of the words and the language that has been struck from whatever previous version is taking out the Senate president as our go-to person to represent us and bringing us directly to our deans. So I think it's important to have that clarity and protection so that I don't feel like I'm a counselor and I don't want to be accused of not being a counselor.
Okay, are there any other suggestions? We will bring this back next meeting for a vote. I did see a hand, Jeff, you had your hand up.
I did, yes.
Okay.
Another one.
So, this is our last extension that we can offer this, but I do need a motion.
Motion for 5.
Okay, motion for 5 minutes. Do I have a second? Okay, I was scared there. I didn't know you want to go home, but we got a second. Are there any objections to extending this item by 5 minutes? Okay, seeing none, then we can approve this by unanimous consent with no objections. Okay, we can go move forward. 5 more minutes. Go ahead, of
All
course.
right, so on page 4, in the middle, there's a statement that says, failure to achieve a satisfactory resolution, you know, basically it makes the statement to take the teeth out of anything in this. I wonder, you know, what is the motivation for faculty, whether they be the, what is it, the word that they use, accused, what motivates them to participate in this process if there are no ramifications?
That is something that we have discussed, and there's nothing we can do with it.
Okay.
HR situations as far as putting things in files and stuff like that, and so that's why the dean gets involved in certain things in the process. And as a committee, we have no teeth.
I guess I want to get to the spirit of why we need this, you know, or what does this serve? How does this serve to student? Like, how does the student benefit from this, or how does the campus community? I'm not criticizing the authors or anything like this, but I know that this was written 20 years ago, and we're making updates to it, right? Because it said somewhere 2002 was when the original document was created or something like that. And so I just want to make sure that we're not just revising something that we don't know why we even have it.
We have used the procedure here at the campus since I've been on the committee. And we had a faculty member who had a complaint against another faculty member. And that faculty member felt that she needed to be heard and she wasn't being heard. And so we did a hearing with CACB. And I think Sheila was there at the hearing. And we helped to resolve the issue for this particular individual. But we couldn't say to the offending party, you're going to get punished because you did this. We don't have that power. But we could come up with a resolution that both sides agreed to. And so that's what the committee does.
Okay.
I have a few more comments and suggestions. For page 1, when we, number 4, propriety, how it mentions inviting all constituencies to participate, can we be really specific with which constituency groups we're discussing? And then can we please be certain to include students as well?
Wait, I'm not seeing where you're.
Page 1.
I'm on page 1.
Number 4, propriety.
This document, those set of ethical standards were written by the college. They were not written by us.
Okay.
So we don't have the power to change them.
So we can't change any of page 1 through including the counselors then? Or just those first 10?
Those first 10 bullet points was something that was created by the college in different constituency groups.
Got it. So even though it's in the AP, as the AP, can we amend or add a footnote that includes, that's what we hope it is? Is that we, I don't know. Okay, that's fine. I figured I'll just put it out there. And then because of the due process, I don't know if anyone else had a hard time following some of it. I wonder if, okay, so there's like the steps, it's almost like the flow chart doesn't make sense. I tried drawing this out, and Carol, maybe I can like email you and give feedback, but I just wonder if, especially for level 3, when it mentions, if the accusing party may attempt a resolution in one of those ways, and it says what the accusing party should do, but then what if the accused is not happy with the resolution? It's almost as if depending on what side of the argument you're on, these are your steps that you do. If you're on the other, these are your steps that you do. They don't necessarily go in line with one another. I don't know if anybody else had that issue when reading it. I'm visual, so I tried drawing this out and I couldn't. So I wonder if that's a thing, and I don't mind helping draft something based on this.
Yes, Talene, that would be helpful because
absolutely.
After having looked at the document for.
Oh, I know, when you're in it, it's really hard to see. I get it. It's way easier sitting on this side. I totally understand. I also want to always bring up that this is VP for instruction. I think we should also include student services or other VPs that might be involved when it comes to the faculty, because they might be a different VP in that case. So I'll help you with that, and I'm done talking. I know I've talked a lot today, sorry.
And unfortunately, that's as far as we can go with this item. We are out of extensions. Thank you, Carol, so much. We can talk more about it when we vote on it at our next meeting.
So those changes you need me to make before your next meeting?
Those, you can email Carol.
I got you.
Okay. Thank you.
Point of information though, those 10 points, I don't see how those could be fixed and written in stone. Isn't this an AP and aren't we being asked to revise this? So why can't those be revised as well?
All I know is that this is a document that we incorporated into the AP.
Dr. Olivo, did you have some insight into this? Thank you. Can you please share that?
We can entertain changes at College Council, which Dr. Lopez is a member of.
Okay, so it goes up to College Council, then back down to us.
Yeah.
Got it. Or sideways to us.
Yeah.
Yes, because I was going to say, we're part of College Council. We're not below anybody. Okay, so there is no new business. I'm going to ask if we could, I'd like to entertain a motion for us to approve item J 1 through 5 as a block.
Oh, yeah.
So moved.
Okay, Lyman, I heard you make the motion. Melissa, second that motion. Are there any objections?
Hold on, I haven't read it yet. No, I'm just kidding.
See, no objections. Okay, we will approve these members by unanimous consent, and we will notify them of their approval. Are there any future agenda items? Oh.
It's not an agenda item, but it's something that perhaps you could bring to the next meeting because you said for hiring committees that the Senate board appoints. The Senate board is us, not the executive board.
No,
And
in the
I-
summer, let me be clear.
And I've
In
been
the
reading
summer, when we're not in
bylaws.
session, the executive committee makes those appointments.
So could
Otherwise,
you
it's
just
the
bring
board.
that to the, show us in the bring the bylaws section?
Sure, absolutely.
I can't find it.
Absolutely, I got
Thank
you. No problem. Okay, are there any announcements? No race for the door. I need, go ahead.
Quick announcement that the ESL tutoring, that if you have students in the that need ESL training, English training, in the Writing Center in C341 and C345, there's conversation circles and all of that, grammar and tutoring. So feel free to send to your students. Send your students there.
Okay, I need a motion to adjourn. Motion. Okay, I heard me first. I'm going to say Talene is the second. We are adjourned. Thank you for a great first meeting.